Hi, so I've just returned from a really nice trip to the Isles of Scilly, and I thought we'd put together a short video with a few little helpful hints and bits of advice about how to pack for a trip to these lovely islands, because the experience is a little bit different to going to some other places. So the Isles of Scilly, first of all, is a lovely collection of islands, an archipelago I think is the right word, located about 25 miles off the southwest tip of Cornwall. It's part of the county of Cornwall, and it's got beautiful beaches, lovely white sands, azure seas. You could be in the tropics, except it's not quite so warm. And there are two ways to get to the Isles of Scilly. So one of them is to go on the boat, the Selonian 3, from Penzance, which takes about 3 hours. The other one is to fly, and you can fly from Exeter, which takes about an hour. You can fly from Newquay, it's about half an hour, and you can fly from Land's End, which takes about 15 minutes. And I'm just going to talk about flying, because I'm not going to mention the boat now. I'm just going to talk about flying, because your luggage allowance, if you fly, is different. And that's because the flying is something called Skybus. And Skybus is quite a small plane, several of them in the fleet, and there's about 17 seats in the plane. It's a really tiny little plane. It's a lovely experience going over the landscape of sometimes Devon and Cornwall, particularly if it's a lovely clear blue sky and a lovely day. But it is a very small plane. And so as a consequence, the luggage limit is a lot less than you'd expect on a normal airline. So whereas you might jet off somewhere like the Canaries, you might have a luggage limit of say 20 to 23 kilos. When you go to the Isles of Scilly, your luggage limit is only 15 kilograms per person, and that's hold luggage. The only thing you're allowed to take in the actual cabin of the aircraft is really a small handbag. So that's quite challenging. The other challenging thing is if you're going for something like a week, the weather in the Isles of Scilly, although it can be lovely, I've just returned from 7 days of glorious sunshine, but a bit of wind as well, it can be very changeable. 1 minute you can have really hot weather and you're reaching for the t-shirt and the hat and the sun cream, and within a couple of hours it can be very windy or wet and you'd be looking for a coat to wear. So again, packing is quite a challenge. Let me just give you a little bit of information about the dimensions. So each person is allowed to take 15 kilos on board, which is checked in luggage, and the suitcase must be no bigger than 75 centimetres by 50 centimetres by 30 centimetres, which is a standard suitcase. But it's very easy to fill up a standard suitcase and go over 15 kilos quite quickly. And then a small piece of hand luggage, which is no more than 30 centimetres by 15 centimetres by 15, so really quite tiny. So my first tip is to, and I've got it in front of me here, is to take on board a cabin bag. So rather than checking in a standard suitcase, which might be more like this one, and that's quite heavy before you've even put anything in it, take a cabin bag, which is much, much lighter. The other option is to have a hold all, something quite soft and light. But if you take a cabin bag, it forces you to pack light. And it means that you know that you can come in well under the limit. There are a couple of little bits of wriggle room. If you're travelling as a couple, you can actually combine your luggage limit up to a weight of 20 kilos. So you could pack a bit more in one bag and go over 15 up to 20 kilos if you were sharing luggage, but it would only leave you, say, 10 kilos for a second piece. The other thing you can do is you can split your packing over 2 bags, but it still mustn't come to more than 15 kilos. So there's a challenge. You've got all these different types of weather. Being on the Isles of Scilly is quite active as well. You'll be walking, you might be swimming, you might want to do bird watching, and you want all the gear for that. So a smallish case is your starting point. One really important piece of advice is whatever the weather, whatever the time of year, a windproof and showerproof coat is essential, particularly if you're island hopping and you're on and off boats. It might be a gloriously sunny day, it might be 23 degrees on an island. Once you get back on the boat, you might well find the temperature drops considerably and you're going to want to be protected. Likewise, a nice hat as well. Now, my advice to you is simple. Wear anything heavy and bulky when you get on the plane. The actual cockpit, the actual cabin of the aircraft you'll be travelling on is quite chilly anyway. So even on a warm summer's day, wear your big bulky stuff on the plane. Don't put it in your case. You're going to have to walk on the Isles of Scilly to find those lovely deserted beaches. So a good pair of walking shoes is really important. Wear those on the plane. Wear your coat on the plane. Wear any bulky items or heavy items like pairs of jeans or walking trousers or jumpers. Anything that's a bit weighty, wear it on the plane and you've got it with you. It's not in your case. That then leaves you lots and lots of space. And what you can do then is very tightly roll up your underwear, your socks, t-shirts. You don't need a change of t-shirt every single day, but you do need a few fresh bits and pieces. Nightwear as well. Might be worth packing just one outfit that's a bit smarter in case you decide to go for a nice pub dinner or meal in one of the hotels. The food on Scilly is very, very good. And that's a really useful thing that you can then turn up at the airport. You've got everything you want and it's very straightforward. And I'm not a light packer. I know some people glory in the fact that they can pack everything into a tiny case for even a 2-week holiday. I'm not like that. I like to take everything with me. I like to take the kitchen sink with me. So this was a big challenge and I surprised myself with just how easy it was to fit lots and lots of things into a much smaller case. And my luggage came in at 9 kilos. So that was a nice way of getting within that limit. The big benefit is when you get home, it doesn't take long to unpack. So I hope you found this useful. And if you ever get the chance to go to the Isles of Scilly, I would definitely recommend it.